Even if you give 100 years to NRM government for them to change that country called Uganda, they can never do that. And I'm starting from that point where you are a country which means well for that nation. They are concerned about nation building. They are bringing people together, how we can work together in harmony, but not a country that divides people through that divide and rule tendency, right? And then two, the thing is, a country that means well for the leaders, a statesman, I'm talking about a statesman, I'm not talking about a dictator. I'm talking about a statesman who means well for that country. What they would do is, how can they build the country to work? And of course, it's very evident across Africa as a whole. You see systems that have been imposed on us, not by us, and it's by design, to see that they do not do anything to progress. A 5 years term limit or whatever to change things. No, and don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted. In our lifetime, we cannot do everything. We cannot change everything. But if there is one thing you can do to this life that God gave you, is to do one thing to change the state of life for the people who are coming right after us. Even when you're making decisions, you have to make decisions that are going to live past you. The world is having plans for Africa, but I'm not sure Africa have plans for themselves. Not until when the US aid was removed, then people were like, people were taking care of your health. Part of your health was being taken care of by someone else. They were running your health system with their own money. And you think there will always be free money that they will offer that hand for you to be getting. No. I'm telling you, if we are still in the systems where moving from only Uganda to Kenya, you have to produce a passport, while in the Europe, you can move from one side to the other without presenting a passport, and you are there, I'm a leader for 40 years. Even 100 years, you cannot do anything. You cannot do anything. And they find themselves in a situation where they want to start redesigning and doing anything. But for 20 years, you could have worked a plan and like, wait, we did wrong. Let's try to reorganize. But you have allowed the system of corruption. You have allowed things that are, being embraced, and we think it's okay to bribe MPs, to give them money, to remove term limit, age limit comes here, the civilians to be tried in, military court and all that. Even 100 years, you cannot change that country. And the conversations that we have across all the media houses, including TVs and radio stations, what you hear is always politics and politics. Why can't we tell people how they can make money and put in their bank account? That is the conversation you should be engaging yourself in. How do we remove visas for the East Africa? We remove everything. We remove, don't presenting passport. If you're moving from Uganda to Ghana, you don't need this thing. They were not for us. And we have been in leadership, not only in Uganda, but across African continent. You guys still think that you have to have these borders, use these borders that will make businesses not to grow and prosper. And you think you're in leadership? You think you're doing something for the people? We are talking about collaboration. Come and collaborate. It's not about competition of, cutthroat competitions where throats are actually cut. You kill people, people are maimed and all that sort of stuff. You don't force people you don't teach people how to be patriotic to the nation. You just live the patriotism. It's a way of life where people feel they are involved. People feel they are taken care of. People are being considered to give them jobs and opportunities, while your name is starting with O and any other letter, you don't get this job, and whatever the topmost, it is supposed to be one region. It's a general. All the generals are from one side. You cannot take that country anywhere. And I want to put this question to all of you. I don't want to put this, but they force me. Let me put it to all of you, the NRM supporters, and you're young. What are the benefits of you supporting this regime? And to what advantage do they add to our lives? What tangible thing you can talk about the previous governments, including those of that of Amin, the one that they're assuming that yes, they killed some people, of course not withstanding his failure, human failures, but he meant well for the country. He was building stuff for the nation. He was doing this and that and that. But here is the NRM regime, which has solved most of these things through privatization. So what sort of leaders are we having today? What nation building? We are supposed to have everybody, involved. We should desire to make a society better than which we found. I'm not saying we cannot do everything. I'm not saying those leaders can do everything. But the little effort you can show us. Check Burkina Faso, less than 3 years, what they are doing for their people. In any case, you did not know. And you thought, of course, they lied to us for far too long, that we cannot do anything, it's the systems or whatever. But check what Burkina Faso is doing through a young man called Captain Ibrahim Traore. And for those of you who are there with myopic views and all that, check those things. Check examples which are being, in our lifetime, at least we are able to see it. Check it. Not politics. You don't talk politics in issues of development. You have to bring healthcare systems that work for everybody. Put this, court and judiciary systems that work for everybody. The road networks, everything should be working. We have electricity. Uganda Electricity Board was, privatized out. We have private people bringing power to the common people. They charge them anyhow, the way they want. So much to be said in so little time. And we all have a contribution to make. To make Uganda work, everybody has to be involved. And I think it's the best to have us go back to the drawing board and let people do things by their region. These things of bringing money to the central pool and then they cannot return back to other sides of the country. They are trying to, make sure that they thrive at the detriment of other people is wrong.